We were off to fight the Hun. We would shoot him with a gun. Our medals would shine like a saber in the sun. We were off to fight the Hun, and it looked like lots of fun. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all, at all, at all. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all. We colonials here in Canada never get the story straight.
What story?
But when Britain goes to war, we always do cooperate. Now what caused the war in Europe to commence, we'll never know. But the Brits at war again, so pack your bags and off we go. How'd the thing happen anyway?
Well, Britain, France, and Russia struck up a fine romance.
They did they?
Germany asked Austria, oh, would you like to dance?
Very cozy.
And all these fine old lovers made their plans of bend the knee.
As befitted the continental aristocracy.
But like lovers everywhere, they were always on alert.
Typical.
We must beware of cheap affairs and infidelious affairs.
Very true.
The guns were at the ready, for they not be put to shame.
You and I can scarcely blame them, anyone would do the same. Oh, there ain't no use in asking what is causing all of us. No use asking what it is we're fighting for. If it's good enough for England, then it's good enough for us. And the colonial boys are lining up, we're lining up for war. 1, 2, 3, 4 Canadian boys are off to war. Well, France and poor old Russia were feeling kinda weak. And the future of Austria was looking mighty bleak. And Germany of its leftovers, they'd fight fun any day. And Britain was indifferent, wouldn't mind it either way. Oh, it's much too complicated for a colonial to discuss, but it's much too high and mighty to ignore. If it's good enough for England, then it's good enough for us. And the colonial boys are lining up, we're lining up for war. 5, 6, 7, 8, an enemy to decimate.
And Francis took a bullet.
Dear, 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 dear.
Serves that enough. The lovers we kind of called each other's.
Sometimes happens.
Now
That's a long, long way from England, as anybody knows. But it's a longer way from Canada, so that's the way it goes. Oh, the logic of our virtue may be slightly dubious, but it's allegiance to Britain that we swore. If it's good enough for England, then it's good enough for us. And the colonial boys are lining up. The colonial boys are lining up, we're lining up for war.
I think when you haven't been in a war for a while, you gotta take what you can get. I mean, here in Canada in 1914, geez, they must have been pretty desperate, you know. Well, take me, for instance. Billy Bishop, 20 years old, a convicted liar and cheat. I mean, I'm on record as the worst student RMC ever had. I joined up, they made me a cavalry officer, a lieutenant in the Mississauga Horse. All I can say is they must have been scraping the bottom of the barrel.
We were off to fight the Hun, though hardly anyone had ever read about a battle, much less seen a Lewis gun. We were off to fight the Hun, and it looked like lots of fun. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all, at all, at all. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all.
June 1915. The 7th contingent of the Canadian Expeditionary Forces left for England. I was with them. Now, this is aboard a cattle boat called the Caledonia in Montreal. Hey, you know, this large crowd came down to the pier to see us off, and for a while there, I thought the whole thing was worth doing. I mean, it's pretty impressive when you look out there and you see several hundred people waving and cheering at you. I mean, when you're from a small town, the numbers get to you. And you're looking at them and they're looking back at you and you think, boy, you know, I really must be doing something right. And they start playing God Save the King. Everybody's crying. waving, cheering. And the boat starts to pull out, and they start to yell like you've never heard anybody yell before. I mean, you feel good. You really do. And you're praying, dear God, please don't let the fighting be over before I can get over there and take part in it. Canada expects every man to do his... Jesus, what am I talking about? The good ship Caledonia quickly changed its name to the good ship Vomit. Ours never meant the whole people. Even the horses didn't like it. Up, down, up, down. And they're siphoning brandy down people's throats, you know, to keep them from puking their guts up on the deck. It's a big joke. I mean, as soon as somebody pukes, which is every moment or so, everybody points to them and laughs like it's the funniest thing they ever saw. I mean, puke swishing around on the deck 2 inches thick. Ha, ha, ha. It was the horses who got the worst of it. Jeez, I felt so sorry for them stupid buggers, because it was killing them. As soon as the horse couldn't stand, we make a space in the stall beside him, you know, so they could lie down. Usually died after that. Then up on deck, over the rail, sploosh into the water. The boat swerves a little so the prop misses the carcass on we go. I mean, they didn't want to be there. What's a horse know about the triple entendre? I mean, what's he care what happens in Belgium? Guess in a war, it's always the innocent bystanders that get the worst of it. You couldn't sleep, even if it was calm, because every time you closed your eyes, you had a nightmare about being torpedoed. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see this torpedo coming up through the water, through the hull of the ship, and boom, boom! And we were attacked by U-boats just off the coast of Ireland. I was scared shitless. I mean, all you could do is stand at the rail and watch the other ships get hit and go down. Bodies floating around like driftwood in the water. But we made it through. The good ship Caledonia, latrine of the Atlantic, finally made it through to Portsmouth. Full of dead horses and sick Canadians. When we got off, they thought we were a boatload of Balkan refugees. We were off to fight the Hun. We would shoot him with a gun. Our medals would shine like a saber in the sun. We were off to fight the Hun, and it looked like lots of fun. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all, at all, at all. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all. 5 days later, we marched into Shorncliffe military camp, right in the channel, you know, on a clear night. Jeez. You could see the artillery flashes from France. I took it as a promise of better things to come. It wasn't. Being buried alive in the mud. I was seriously considering this proposition one day when a funny thing happened to me. You see, I got my horse stuck in the middle of the parade ground. A horse is up to its fetlocks. I'm up to my knees, mud, sweat, and horse shit from head to toe. When suddenly, out of the clouds comes this little single-seater Scout, you know, this little fighter plane. Circles a couple of times. Guess the pilot had lost his way and was going to come down and ask for directions. Does his little turn and then lands in an open spot like a dragonfly on a rock. Pilot jumps out. He's in a long sheepskin coat, helmet, goggles. Warm and dry. Gets his directions, then he's back in the plane, up in the air again, with the mist blowing off of him, all by himself. No superior officer. No horse. No mud, no sand. Jesus, what a beautiful picture. I don't know how long I just stood in the mud and watched till he was long gone. Out of sight. I mean, this war is going on a lot longer than anybody expected. A lot more people are getting killed than anybody expected, too. Now, I wasn't going to spend the rest of the war in the mud, and I sure as hell wasn't going to die in the mud.
Thinking about December nights in the clear Canadian cold, where the winter air don't smell bad and the wind don't make you old, where the rain don't wash your heart out and the nights ain't filled with fear. Whoa, those old familiar voices whisper in my ears. Whoa, Canada, sing a song for me. Sing one for your lonely son, so far across the sea. You don't fancy the cavalry then, eh? What? I say you don't fancy the cavalry then, eh? Fancy it? I spent the last 3 months either up to my neck in mud or flat in my back with pneumonia. Of the two, I prefer the pneumonia. Ow. Well, it's worse than that at the front, mate, eh? I mean, there you got blokes shooting at you, right? With machine guns. Da, 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 da. Machine guns? Hey, nobody told me anything about machine guns. It's a bloody shooting gallery, mate. They still think they're fighting the Boer War. Cavalry charges, yo, against machine guns. Da, 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 da. It's a bloody shooting gallery with you in the middle of it, mate. Well, this is awful. I mean, something's got to be done. Jesus, I was a casualty in training. Take a word of advice from me, mate. The only way out is up. Up, up. Join the Royal Flying Corps, I did. I used to be in the cavalry. I joined the RFC, I like it. It's good, clean work. Of course, the bloody planes barely stay in the air, and the life expectancy of the new lads is about 11 days, but I like it. It's good, clean work. Just a minute. How can I get into the RFC? I'm Canadian. I'm cannon fodder. I mean, you practically have to own your own plane to get into the RFC. Au contraire, mate, au contraire. The upper classes are depressed by the present statistics, so they're not joining with their usual alacrity. Now anyone who wants to can get blown out of the air, even Canadians. Well, what do I have to do? You go down and see him at the War Office. Daft bunch of twits, but they're all right. Lieutenant Bishop, eh? Am I right? Am I correct? Lieutenant Bishop, sir, Mr. Soggerhorse. Oh, fine, fine. Well, sit down. So, you wish to transfer to the RFC, eh? Am I right? Am I correct? Oh, yes, sir. I want to become a fighter pilot, sir. You, I see. Well, that's most commendable, Bishop. Yes. My mother always wanted it, sir. Oh, I see. Well, the situation is this, Bishop. We need good men at RFC, but they must have the correct qualifications. Now, well, the War Office has not yet ascertained what qualifications indeed are necessary for flying. Aeroplane, yes, of course. We must see to it that all candidates possess the correct qualifications, should the War Office ever decide what those qualifications are. Do you understand that, Bishop? Oh, perfectly, sir. No, that's good. Yes, it's jolly good. It's more than I can say. Yeah. Well, shall we begin then? Ready when you are, sir. No, that's good. Yes, it's very good. Yeah. A lot of keenness there, yes. And good luck to you, Bishop. Yes. Well, what on earth shall I ask him?
Do you ski? Ski, sir? Yes. Do you ski? Here was an Englishman asking a Canadian whether or not he skied. Now, if the Canadian said no, he didn't ski, the Englishman might find that somewhat suspicious. Ski? Yes, sir. Never skied in my life. Good to hear, Bishop. Yes, good to hear. Yes. Horses, eh? Well, do you ride a horse? I'm an officer in the cavalry, sir. Doesn't necessarily follow, but we'll put down that you ride, shall we? Yes. Do you drive a motor car? Oh, proficiently, sir. Never driven a motor car. Oh, fine. That's good to hear. What about a motorcycle, eh? Do you drive a motorcycle? Been driving them all my life, sir. Yes, I see. Great. Yes. Well, do you skate, eh? Do you skate, Bishop? Perfectly, sir. Yes, great. I thought you might. Yes. Well, what about sports, eh? Run, jump, throw the ball, play the game, eh? What? Well, sports are all sports. Oh, I see. Well, I am most impressed, Bishop. Yes. Well, does this mean that I can become a fighter pilot, sir? Who knows, Bishop? Who knows? All full up with fighter pilots at the moment. I'm afraid it takes 6 months a year to get in. Terribly sorry, big disappointment. Nothing I can do, old man. I see, sir. However, we have an immediate need for observers. You know, the fellow that goes along for the ride and looks about, eh? What do you say, Bishop? The reconnaissance experimental number 7. Our new plane. To look at it, what you saw was this mound of cables and wires with 1,000 pounds of equipment hanging off the bottom of it. 4 machine guns, a 500-pound bomb, for God's sakes. Cameras, reconnaissance equipment. Roger Neville, that's my pilot. He and I are ordered into the thing to take it up. Of course, the bloody thing doesn't get off the ground. I mean, anybody could see that. We think, fine, good riddance. The officers go into a huddle. Well, what do you suppose the problem is? I don't know. Maybe we should try taking the bomb off. Take the bomb off! So we take the bomb off and try it again. This time we go down the runway like a crippled duck. Finally, by taking everything off of it but one machine gun, kind of flopped its way into the air and chugged along. It was a pig. We were all scared stiff of it. But somebody upstairs takes pity on us, so we're ordered off active duty to behind the lines to guard General Haig's headquarters. All I can say is a good thing the Hun didn't know we were back there. We weren't about to guard anybody. But by March 1916, the Allies are so hard-pressed, we're put back on active duty as bombers. They give us 2 bombs each, tell us to fly over Hunland and drop them on somebody. But in order to accommodate for the weight of the bombs, they took our machine gun away.
Nobody shoots no one in Canada. At least nobody they don't know. Nobody shoots no one in Canada. Last battles a long time ago. Nobody picked no fights in Canada. Not with nobody they ain't met. Nobody starts no wars in Canada. Folks tend to work for what they get. Take me under that big blue sky where the deer and the black bear play. May not be heaven, but heaven knows we try. Wish I was in Canada today. I'm dreaming of the trees in Canada. Northern lights are dancing in my head. If I die, then let me die in Canada, where there's a chance I'll die in bed.
Allow me to introduce myself. I knew your father. I'm Lady St. Helier, poetess, reform alderman, friend of Churchill, and the woman who shall save your life. Oh, well, thanks. I don't mean thanks. It just comes as, I didn't know. I'm just getting, enough of this gay banter, Bishop. Time runs apace, and my life is not without its limits. You've been making rather a mess of it, haven't you? You're a rather rude young man, behaving like cannon fodder, perfectly acceptable characteristics in a Canadian. But you're different. You're a gifted Canadian, and that gift belongs to a much older and deeper tradition than Canada can ever hope to provide. I have written a poem in your honor, Bishop. I can but hope that your rustic mind will appreciate its significance. Cedric? You're a typical Canadian, you're modesty itself, and you really wouldn't want to hurt a flea. But you're just about to go the way of the buffalo. You do well to take this good advice from me. I'm awfully sick and tired, being constantly required to stand by and watch Canadians make the best of it. For the colonial mentality defies all rationality. You seem to go to lengths to make a mess of it. You fawn on Britain as a mother, then complain that you've been smothered, claiming your identity has been trod on. But when adversity is seen, why, it's God save the king. You want us to intervene so you can plod on. Why don't you grow up before I throw up? Do you expect somebody else to do it for you? Before you're dead out, get the lead out and seize what little life still lies before you. Do you really expect empire to settle back, retire, say colonials, go on your merry way? I'm very tired of your whining and your infantile maligning. Your own weakness simply won't be whined away. So don't be so naive and take that heart off your sleeve, for a fool and his life will soon be parted. War's a fact of life today. It'll not be wished away. Forget that fact or you'll be dead before you started. So, Bishop, grow up before I throw up. Your worst enemy is yourself, as you well know. Before you're dead out, get the lead out. You have your own naivete to overthrow. Thank you, Cedric. Life goes much smoother when you got influence. Take this pilot business, for instance. Lady St. Helier, with all her connections, the next day she's on the phone to Churchill himself. I'm called down to the War Office. The atmosphere is much different. Bishop, my boy, good to see you, Bishop, good to see you. Oh, sit down, sit down, sit down. Well, 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 your mother's wish is finally going to come true. Really, sir? Oh, yes, you're going to become a pilot, no problem. Pas de problème, eh? Medical examination in 2 weeks' time, then report for training. Medical examination? What about my weak heart? What about the fact that 3 weeks ago I was on the verge of medical discharge? Bishop, yes, pip of the way, sit down. Stick out your tongue and say 99. Good. Cough twice. That's good, too. Turn around 10 times. 8, 9, 10. Tension. Still on your feet, Bishop? You're fit as a fiddle and ready to fly. I'll never forget my first solo flight. Lonely? Jeez. You're sitting at the controls all by yourself, trying to remember what they're all for. Everybody else stopped doing what they're doing to watch you. There's an ambulance parked at the edge of the field with its engine running. You know why. You also know that in the hospital is a surgical team just ready to rip.
Switch off.
Switch off.
Petrol on.
Petrol on.
Suck in.
Suck in.
Switch on.
Switch on.
Contact.
Contact. The propeller is given a sharp swing over and the engine starts with a roar. coughs a few times, and then starts hitting on all its cylinders. You signal for him to take away the chocks. And then you start bouncing across the field under your own power and headed up into the wind. I opened the throttle all the way. And you're off! Pull back in the stick. Harder! Harder! Once I was in the air, I felt a lot better. In fact, I felt like a king. Mind you, I'm not fooling around. I'm flying as straight as I can, climbing steadily. All by yourself, what a feeling! I got a turn. I execute a gentle turn. Skidding like crazy, but what the hell? I try another turn. This time I bank a little more. Too much, too much. And all in all, you know, I'm having a hell of a time up there. Until I remember I gotta land. What do I do now? You just keep your head, that's what you do now. I pull back on the throttle. Too much. I put the nose down into a steep dive. Too steep, brought it up again. Down again, up again, down again, up again. And in a series of steps, kind of descended to the earth. Then I execute everything I remember you have to do to make a perfect landing. 40 feet off the ground. I put the nose down again, do another perfect landing. This time I'm only 8 feet off the ground. But now I got no room left to do another nose down maneuver. Rumty takes things into her own hands, just pancakes the rest of the way to the ground. First solo flight, greatest day in a man's life.
Flying.
What have I been waiting for? What a way to fight a war. Flying Canadian, machine gun in my hand. First Hun to seize the first Hun to die. First Hun to seize the first Hun to die. March the 25th, 1917. 4 Newport Scouts in diamond formation climbed to 9,000 feet, crossing the line somewhere between Eros and St. Leger. The patrol is to crisscross the lines, noting Heine's positions and troop movements. I'm the last man in that patrol. Tough place to be because you fall too far behind. The headhunters are waiting for you. It started out cloudy, but it suddenly clears up. We fly for half an hour and just don't see anything. Just miles and miles and nothing. Suddenly, I see 4 specks above and behind us. Perfect place for an enemy attack. I watch as the specks grow larger. I can make out the black crosses on them. Huns, Jesus. It's hard to believe, you know, that they're real and live and hostile. I wanted to circle around and have a better look at them. Albatross V-strutters, beautiful, with their swept-back planes, powerful and quick. We keep on flying straight. Jack Scott, our leader, either hasn't seen them or wants them to think that he hasn't seen them. They're getting closer and closer. We keep on flying straight. They're 400 yards behind us, getting closer and closer. Suddenly, Jack Scott opens up in a sharp climbing turn to get above and behind him. The rest of us follow. I'm slower than the rest and come out about 50 yards behind. In front of me, a dogfight is happening right in front of my very eyes. Real pandemonium. Planes turning every which way. Machine gun fire. Suddenly, Jack Scott sweeps below me with an albatross in his tail, raking his fuselage and wingtips with gunfire. For a moment, I'm just frozen there, not knowing what to do, my whole body just shaking. Then I throw the stick forward and I dive on the Hun. I keep him in my oldest sight till he completely fills the lens. My tracer smashed into his machine just below the cockpit. Jesus, what a feeling as he flips over his back and falls out of control. But wait. Grid Colwell warned me about this. He's not out of control. He's faking it. He's going to level out at 2,000 feet and escape. Bastard! I dive after him with my engine full on, and sure enough, when he comes out over, I'm right there. Again, my tracer smashed into his machine. Jesus, I gotta be hitting him. He flips over his back and he's gone again. I stay right with him. The wires on my machine howl in protest. Newports have had their wings come off at 150 miles an hour. I must be doing 180. I just don't give a shit. I keep firing into the tumbling Hun. Jesus. He just crashes into the earth and explodes in flames. Whoosh! I pull back and stick level out, screaming at the top of my lungs, I win! I win! I win! But Jesus, my engine stopped. It must have filled with oil in the dive. I try every trick in the book to get it going again. Come on. Come on, please. Nothing. Lower and lower. God, I'm going to go in. Ground fire, I'm still over Hunland. Just my luck to do something right and end up being taken prisoner. Lower and lower. I think always seems to be a level patch in the rough terrain. I put it down. I got out of the plane and into what must have been a shell hole. I took my very pistol with me. I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with it. Well, you're just in time for a cup of tea there, lad. I spent the night in the trench. 6 inches of water.
Oh, the bloody earth is littered with the fighters and the quitters. Oh, what could be more bitter than a nameless death below? See the trenches long and winding, see the battle slowly grinding. Don't you wonder how good men can live so low? Up above the sun is burning, up above the clouds are turning. You can hear those soldiers yearning. Oh, if only I could fly. From the burning sun I'll sight you, in the burning sun I'll fight you. Oh, let us dance together in the sky. In the sky. In the sky. Just you and I up there together, who knows why? One a hunter, one a hunted, a life to live, a death confronted. Oh, let us dance together in the sky.
Survival, that's the important thing. And the only way to learn survival is to survive. Success depends on accuracy and surprise. How well you shoot, how you get into the fight, and how well you fly, in that order. I can't fly worth shit compared to somebody like Barker or Ball. I don't care. If I get a kill, it's in the first few seconds of the fight. Any longer than that, you might as well get the hell out. You gotta be good enough to get them in the first few bursts, so you practice your shooting as much as you can. After patrols, between patrols, and your day off. If I get a clear shot at a guy, he's dead. You ever hear of flamers? That's when you bounce a machine and it kind of just bursts into flames. Now, I don't want to sound bloodthirsty or anything like that, but when that happens, it's very satisfying. But it's almost always pure luck. You hit a gas line or something like that. If you want the machine to go down every time, you aim for one thing: the man. I always go for the man.
Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, Chalet's Bar et Mien proudly presents the lovely Hélène.
Johnny was a Christian, he was humble and humane. His conscience was clear and his soul without a stain.
He was contemplating heaven when the wings fell off his plane.
And he never got out alive.
No.
He didn't survive. So when you fight, stay as calm as the ocean. And watch what's going on behind your shoulder. Remember, war's not the place for deep emotion. And maybe you'll get a little older. Come into the fight with an advantage, height, speed, surprise. Come at him out of the sun, he'll never see you. Get in his tail, his blind spot, so you can shoot him without too much risk to yourself. Generally, patrols don't watch behind them as well, so you sneak up on the last man. He'll never know what hit him. You get out in the confusion. Hunt them! Like hell's handmaiden. If it's one-on-one, you come at the bugger head-on, guns blazing. He chickens out. You get him as he comes across your sight. If you both veer the same way, you're dead. It's tricky. You gotta keep your nerve. Geoffrey made a virtue, whether of cowardice and fear. He was the first to go on sick leave and the last to volunteer.
He was running from a fight when they attacked him from the rear.
And he never got out alive.
No.
He didn't survive.
So when you fight, stay as calm as the ocean.
And
Watch what's going on behind your shoulder.
Remember, war's not the place for deep emotion. And maybe you'll get a little older.
Look at the names on the statues everywhere you go. Someone was killed a long time ago. I remember the faces, I remember the time. Those were the names of friends of mine. The statues are old now and they're fading fast. Something big must have happened way in the past. The names are so faded you can hardly see, but the faces are always young to me. Friends ain't supposed to die till they're old, and friends ain't supposed to die in pain. No one should die alone when he is 21, and living shouldn't make you feel ashamed. You can't believe how young we were back then. One thing's for sure, we'll never be that young again. We were daring young men with hearts of gold, and most of us never got old.
Meeting between Billy Bishop and General Hugh M. Trenchard, August 11th, 1917.
Oh, we've lots of medals for you, Bishop. Lots and lots of medals, eh? Pretty medals. For you have been a very, very good lad. Oh, thank you, sir. I have another splendid surprise for you, too, Bishop. You shall receive your medals, you'll go on extended Canada leave, and you won't fight again. What did you say, sir? Have I got a speech impediment, Bishop? I said you won't fight again. Not fight again? I gotta fight again. I got 43 balls, got 44. All I need is one more of them sons of... Bishop. You have done very, very well. You will receive the Victoria Cross, the Distinguished Service Order, the Military Cross. No British pilot has done that, not even Albert Ball, God rest his soul. Leave it at that, Bishop. You have done England a great service. Thank you very much. Now you don't have to fight anymore. I should think you'd be delighted. You don't understand, sir. I don't mind. I like it. Yes, I know you like it, Bishop. Ain't quite. But it's becoming something of a problem. You see, you have become a colonial figurehead. I know, sir, a dignitary. A colonial dignitary, Bishop. There is a difference. You see, Bishop, the problem with your colonial is that he has a morbid enthusiasm for life. You might call it a life wish. Now, what happens when your colonial figurehead gets killed? I'll tell you what happens, Bishop. Colonial morale plummets. Despair is in the air. Fatalism rears its ugly head. But a living colonial figurehead, that's a different cup of tea, eh? The men are inspired. They say he did it and he lived. I can do it too. You get the picture, Bishop? I believe I do, sir. Good lad. You shall leave Squadron 60, never to return again, on the morning of August the 17th. That is all, Bishop. Breakfasting with queens and kings, dining with lords and earls. Drink champagne, it flows like rain, make time with high-class girls. Just a Canadian boy, England's pride and joy, my fantasies fulfilled. No one asks me where I'm from, they're happy for the men I killed. Number one is a hero, number one's the hottest thing in town. When I'm in my home, away from home, nobody's gonna shoot me down. Oh no, nobody's gonna shoot me down. I'm a hired gun, gonna shoot someone, but England's gonna stand by me. And if I die, you can't deny they're gonna call it a tragedy. I'm quaint company from the colonies, their love is so sincere. And when the war is won and the battle done, I got friends as long as I stay here. Number one is a hero, number one's the hottest thing in town. When I'm in my home, away from home, nobody's gonna shoot me down. Oh no, nobody's gonna shoot me down. Bishop, today you will meet the king. This represents a high watermark for us all, and you must see to it that you do not make a balls up of it. I understand the king is particularly excited today. It seems that this is his first opportunity of presenting 3 medals to the same gentleman. Furthermore, the king is amused. That gentleman is from the colonies. The king therefore may speak to you. Should you be so honored, you will respond politely in grammatically cogent phrases, with neither clawing sentimentality nor rude familiarity. You shall speak to the king with dignity and restraint. Do you think you can manage that, Bishop? Is it possible that the safest course would be for you to keep your mouth shut? I arrive at Buckingham Palace late. It's very confusing. Excuse me, sir, but where do you think you're going? Oh, look, I'm supposed to get a medal or something around here. Oh, you're way off, you are, sir. Yes, this is His Majesty's personal reception area. You just about stumbled into the Royal Loo. What seems to be the problem here? Oh, good Lord. Well, the colonial here wants a medal. But his sense of direction seems to have failed him. Good Lord, Bishop, we've been looking all over for you. Come along, man. What have you got on your hands? Nothing, sir. Exactly. What are your gloves? Well, I gave them to the man at the door. Well, what did you do a stupid thing like that for? Here, you're going to have to take one of mine. Isn't that going to look a little lopsided, sir? You wear it on the left hand, shake hands with the king on the right. Now, the procedure is this. 10 paces to the center of the room, turn back. It started already. Bishop, you're just going to have to wing it. Here comes the king with his retinue. Orders of St. Michael, orders of St. George. And here's me. The king pins 3 medals on my chest. Then he says,
"Well, Captain Bishop, you've been a busy lad."
I'm not kidding. The king is standing here. I'm standing here. King talks to me for 15 minutes. I can't say a word. I've lost my voice. But after the investiture comes the balls and parties, the photographers, the reporters, the lords and ladies, the champagne, the filet mignon, the 50-year-old brandy. And there's me, Billy Bishop, from Owen Sound, Ontario, dancing with duchesses and princesses. And I know one thing, this is my day. There will never be a day like it. I think of this as we dance far into the night, as we dance to the music of the Empire Soiree.
Civilizations come and go, dancing unto oblivion. The birth and death of nations, of civilizations, can be viewed down the barrel of a gun. Nobody knows who calls the tune. It's been on the hit parade so many years. You and I must join the chorus like ancestors before us, and like them, we're going to disappear. So you're all invited to the Empire Soiree. We'll see each other there, just wait and see, wait and see. Attendance is required at the Empire Soiree. We'll all dance the dance of history. Revolutions come and go. New empires will take the other's place. The song may be fun, but a new dance has begun when someone points a gun at someone's face. Alexander and Julius had their dance till somebody said, "May I cut in?" All you and I can do is put on our dancing shoes and wait for the next one to begin. So you're all invited to the Empire Soiree. We'll see each other there, just wait and see, wait and see. Attendance is required at the Empire Soiree. We'll all dance the dance of history.
Well, how was I think it went off rather well myself. The proper tone, the proper balance between glamour and duty. You know, I wake up some mornings and it comes as a bit of a surprise to me that there's another war on. We didn't think there was going to be another one back in 1918. Makes you wonder what it was all for. But then I suppose none of us are in control of any of these things, are we? And all in all, I'd have to say, it was a hell of a time. Oh, the bloody earth is littered with the fighters and the quitters. Oh, what could be more bitter than a nameless death below? See the trenches, long and winding. See the battle slowly grinding. Don't you wonder how good men can live so low? Up above the sun is burning. Up above the clouds are turning. You can hear those soldiers yearning. Oh, if only I could fly. In the burning sun I'll sight you. In the burning sun I'll fight you. Oh, let us dance together in the sky. In the sky. In the sky. Just you and I up there together. Who knows why? One the hunter,
One the hunted,
a life to live, a death confronted. Oh, let us dance together in the sky. And for you the bell is ringing, and for you my bullet's stinging. Oh, my Lewis gun is singing. Oh, my friend, it's you or I. And I'll watch your last returning to the earth, the fire's burning. Look up and you will see me wave goodbye. In the sky, in the sky. Just you and I up there together, who knows why? One the hunter,
One the hunted,
a life to live, a death confronted. Oh, let us dance together in the sky. Good night, ladies. Good night, gentlemen.